Hello, Dave Kenworthy here. It's the 21st of the 8th, 2021. Just published a video about the work of Jim Allison, and now I'm going to show you the Giza model that I put together quite a long time ago. 21st of the 6th, 2019 when this went together. It's dedicated to Bogomilia Krysiak. She's known as Rods, and she discovered this ancient year of 364.5833, reconciling to the work of Algernon Berryman at Giza. Now we can also put for that the work of Jim Allison as well, and that's what I've done. I've just updated this spreadsheet to reflect that, and we can go to where I've done it. It's on this page and you can see it. Jim Allison, 13.125 Indus foot. And we go along and we get 131250000. That's the circumference of the Great Circle. And in this instance, that's the polar circumference. We go along to the end here and we find the proximity, which is the length of the inch times 100. And it's also the length of the cubit multiplied by 4.8. And that is cubit theory in the new metrology. We look at the Giza base, 36458.333. Divide that by 100 inches. We get 364.5833 solar days. And we put that in Michel's canon of ancient measure. So we multiply that by 360. Then by 1,000, which is sacred measure up there, and we get 131250000. Divide it by 5,280. We get Jim's calculation of the Earth's circumference. Now this is the trick. The eclipse unit is 1.4666 recurring, and that's the relationship between the Earth's circumference and the Giza base in inches. That's in miles, that's in inches. We multiply the Giza base by 1.4666. Multiply the Earth's circumference in miles by 1.4666. We get the Giza base in inches. And that holds for every calculation. And there it is. That's Jim's Earth circumference. Divide it by 1.4666 and we get this number. We're outside of the canon of ancient measure now. So that is calculating the Earth's circumference in feet and miles. Get back to the Giza base. And what I noticed about Jim's finding is that this spreadsheet calculates ascending pi. And pi times 1,000 is in this. It's a pi units. Now, ignoring this column, Jim's value for pi, if we keep the same height of the Great Pyramid, which is 500 Egyptian feet, then we're using pi as 3.125. And this work by Jim is proving this, because the Giza Great Pyramid height is calculated against the digit as calculated by Berryman and reconciled to the Shuzi by Jim. So we can see how the pyramid is an ascending pi scale using well-known units. So this one is Michel, 20.736 is the cubit. Jim's cubit is 20.7149612. But if we use Michel's, we find that pi is this number, 3128. And then this one here is someone that has been helping Jim in his understanding of his findings. And it's a guy called Jacob Boas, who also publishes work on the Graham Hancock website. Now, I've discussed this cubit with Jacob, and it gives this GP base. And it gives this Earth circumference. And that is 25,000 miles less 111.111 miles. And that is absolutely deliberate. And that is Petrie's second determination, and Jacob will know all about that. And the proximity, which is the cubit multiplied by 4.8, is that. And we can see that from where Jim has done his calculation, moving upwards, we've got all these very well-known measures. There's Michel's measure, or John Neal's measure. This one's Jacob's. This one's my approximation of pi within this framework of 3141.59333. That's a fantastic approximation of real pi. And then we move further up, we get 36652, and we're looking at pi as 3.1416. So there's no doubt about this. 3.1416 is such a well-known value of pi, and it's 22/7 times 2499 divided by 2500. It's got to be what they were using. It gives a qubit of 20.825. And I found this version of pi at Stonehenge in Tom's calculations. There's no doubt about it. Then we move up the scale. Harrison-Stockdale. We're looking at a proximity. So we've calculated the qubit as that based on Harrison-Stockdale's megalithic foot, which you won't see in any of these calculations, but I can assure you it's there. Their value for the GP base is 36664.444. That's 2.222 recurring inches short of the proximity 100 GP base, which is that. And when we use that, we get an Earth circumference of 25,000 miles. And this is the top of the scale for the design of the Giza pyramid, using the measure that Colonel Wise determined. And everything flows from this top line. Now there's two more green lines in this one. The Giza base is 36276 in inches. And it's Hugh Franklin's calculation, and there's Hugh's qubit, which is a really wonky looking qubit. But it's against a Giza base of 36276 imperial inches, and it's 3023 imperial feet, and 3023 is a prime number. Now, Petrie's first determination, I think, is this, 20.6111 recurring. And it gives this as an Earth circumference. And if I can move to that, I'll show you what I've written about it. It's 98.9333. There. And in the model, this is the actual page where this is worked out. Proximity to 100 is 98.9333. So every line in this canon has got an individual page for it. So if we go on to base 100, excuse me, I've got a very bad cold. Where did I get this from? The foot, the cubit, the step, the reed, the mile. The mile is 5,000 feet in this system. Now Jim Ellison has written about that. I got this off Harry Sivertson. I asked Harry if he wanted me to give him some credit for it, and he said no. So I just want him to know that I'm using his figures here, and I don't know if he knows that this model's been prepared. But these going down are the ancient units as determined by Harry, and these are the ones across the top. So we're looking at feet, inches, digits, hands breadths and spans. Now these digits here, 16 in a foot, they're not the ones that I use myself, but they work perfectly well. They're just on a different scale to what I use. And if we look at the number of spans in the GP base length, it's 6111.1111. Now that in feet is a geodetic mile that I've worked out using the new metrology. So there's nothing wrong with Harry's stuff. His Giza base has got 4888.888 digits in it. So the digit is 0.75. That's what Harry gave me. And the key unit is this one. Stadia 1 is 1/10 of a mile. And that is then dropped into there. And I've written Jacob's pies here because I was told by Jacob how the design of the Giza pyramid works. Works using 44/7. And a unit of a Jacob in this design is 44/7. And that is 500 times 44/7. 3.14285714. These are the pi units. I've called them pies. These are the pi units, and these are the Jacob units in brown. So if we go to, what can we look at that we know? 99.96, what's that? We get 499.8. Everything's scaled down, and the only entry that goes into this model is here. We put the entry that we want in there by multiplying 360 by the scaling factor. And the scaling factor here is 9996 divided by 10,000. So that's what that is. It's 360 times 9996 divided by 10,000. And that cell calculates absolutely everything apart from this bit down on Eclipse units down there. So that cell calculates everything. These bits here, don't bother with because they're just me messing around with stuff. I've left, I do work in there all the time and cross it out and put fresh stuff in. But this is the permanent Giza model, and this entry is producing this figure here for pi of 31416. That's 1,000 units of pi. So pi here, when we use a foot of 0.9996 feet, which is 11.9952 inches, 15.9936 digits, because everything's being scaled down, we scale down to get this Jacob unit of 499.8 times 44/7, giving pi as 3.1416. And that's how this Giza model's working. It's very complex, and it's the result of years of asking people like Harry Sivertson, anybody that had talked to me that knows what metrology is all about, asking them, listening to them, and applying what they're saying, and cross-fertilising the ideas of as many people as possible. And this is what I've ended up with, this fantastic model that is working now. I've had problems with it in the past, but it's working perfectly now. And you will always find the GP base divided by proximity is this number. That's the base 100 base of the Giza pyramid, which is always that. And Jim will find that that's the case for his unit that he's found. He'll always find that when he scales his inch down, he'll have that number of inches in his GP base. It's a fixed number, that it's always there. And it's there because it's the eclipse year. And when you multiply it by 24 and divide it by 25, you get 352. That's the lunar eclipse year. And they're both designed into the Giza pyramid. Very complicated. I'm going to stop, but there's a lot more to talk about. But I think that's enough for now. I hope you can see these figures because they're very small on the screen. So thank you.